This is Common Filth Extra. Thank you for listening, and thank you for your continued support. I have the bottom of a Washington Post page open for some reason, and I'm in the section that says Post Recommends, and the title of one of the articles says, "What a creepy Bloomingdale's ad tells us about America's understanding of rape. One page in a holiday catalog displays a depressing lesson." Sure, let's click on it. Why not? Okay, this is written by Danielle Paquette. Do you look like mystery meat? Are you racially confused? No, you are unambiguously white. Big fucking surprise. A woman is laughing, head tossed back, focused on something over her right shoulder. A man stares at her, unsmiling. The caption reads, "Spike your best friend's eggnog when they're not looking." This advertisement, part of Bloomingdale's new holiday catalog, inspired instant backlash on the web. From who? I'm gonna click on this Twitter account here and see how many. They have less fucking followers than I do. I mean, by several times over. Yet, this is instant backlash. 423 followers, that's instant backlash. From some dipshit with glasses. And a smug oh, she also has a pierced nose. That's how you know she's a great person. And this is who's backlashing against some dumb advertisement. Okay, continuing. Oh, who are you? Who's the lady below here? Fascinated that throughout the editing process, nobody suggested this Christmas ad is a bad idea. Oh, 110 followers from this dipshit. Oh, she's a marketing manager. That's a very important job. And what about you? You're a verified account. No. So it takes you that long to get somebody with more than 400 followers. Great. Who gives a fuck? Some old retard. In response to the uproar, Bloomingdale's issued a prompt apology. In reflection of recent feedback, the copy we used in our recent catalog was inappropriate and in poor taste. A spokesman wouldn't say how the spiking directive was approved. Now, somebody's marketing manager probably gave this the green light, and I'll tell you why. If this woman's working as a marketing manager, wouldn't it be reasonable to believe that maybe there are female higher-ups in Bloomingdale's approving these ads? I don't think that is entirely out of the realm of possibility. Now, I bet you that some girl with a graphic design degree made this thing up and said, "Yeah, I'm gonna make this. This has nothing to do with anything. This will prove that rape culture actually exists." That's probably how this ad got approved, because it makes no sense. It's not even like selling any products. And if we're to believe the saying, no such thing as bad publicity, well, everybody wins. Okay. Sarah Mernon, a psychology professor at Kenyon College in Ohio, printed the image for the gender studies class she teaches. Kenyon College. Oh, is that I wonder how many Twitter followers Sarah Mernon has. The way he's looking at her, she said, is definitely in a leering manner, and is saying best friends supposed to make them gender equal. You're looking at a publicity stunt by a corporation, by some bitch with an axe to grind. Some bitch who probably sent me this in response to a thing I posted on Tumblristas. You honestly believe that an entire group of people are all the same? Yeah, generalization is always used by intellectuals. You're not worth my time. I hope you suffer in your life. Now, this was in response to me saying that it was like some bug chasing thing, and it got a lot of attention. And this screenshot from Tumblr, obviously. And I said that I used an example of another screenshot saying, like, no, this isn't a fringe thing. Look how many notes this post has. And then she said, you honestly believe that an entire group of people, blah, blah, blah. Well, I don't believe that they're all the same, but I do believe that most are the same. Especially in light of in light of recent things that I've covered on Common Filth Radio. Namely, that guy who rented out that mansion for almost $1,100 a night to film his gay piss and enema porn. He rented out a mansion. He has that kind of money to rent out a mansion to piss, shit, and jizz all over it. Now, this guy, again, if you don't remember, he runs a porn company. And that's how he's made his money. $1,100 a night to rent out a place is a lot of money. That is an obscene amount of money. To just, this is just a business expense, whatever. Or maybe it was a vacation, who knows? Who knows why he did it, but obviously they did business there if the entire place was soaked in bodily fluids. Now, how does he get this money? How does he get his fortune? How did he, quote-unquote, earn it? He got it by having many paying customers. Many people want his product. Many people spend their money to buy his product. His target audience? Homosexuals. Homosexual males. Now, if this were just a fringe thing, you'd have a few bucks here, a few bucks there. However, I think that $1,100 a night is a lot more than just a few bucks here, just a few bucks there. And the screenshot, the specific one that I posted in response saying, like, look, here's how many people. All of them are into some sick sexual fetishism. And then she's like, generalization is always used by intellectuals. You're not worth my time. I hope you suffer in your life. Well, we're all suffering. You are, I am. But no matter what kind of suffering you or I are going through, it's the suffering doesn't compare to the suffering of HIV. Now, here's the one that triggered her into saying, I hope you suffer. This is from Cum Temple. Back alley fag rape. Chicks don't risk walking alone at night for fear of being raped in dark alleys. Fags walk alone at night hoping to be raped in dark alleys. Hashtag straight on gay. Hashtag gay rape fantasy. This is something they want. They're fantasizing about it. Before I tell you how many notes this got, which by the way, I looked at the notes, none of them were condemning this. They were all reblogs and likes. Go ahead, take a guess. Take a guess, and let me know what your guess was. The amount of notes, 10,419 notes. 10,419 notes for back alley fag rape. There was a comment that was recently brought to my attention, and the comment was something like, Paris is burning, and you people are talking about what people do with their penises? Wow. And immediately when I read this, I thought, this is identical to Theodore Adorno's quote about poetry. And I have the exact quote here. To write poetry after Auschwitz is barbaric. Theodore Adorno, of course, is a member of the Frankfurt School of Marxism. Something bad happened. Look, white race. Something bad happened. That means no one's allowed to talk about anything else that's bad, including my deviant, dead-end, diseased lifestyle. Notice how they deflect and downplay it. Oh, what are you so concerned with what people doing with their genitals? I don't know. I know, I really don't know. I mean, that what they do with their genitals, it extends to that woman who owned that mansion who now has to clean it, sanitize it. It's probably never going to be clean. And in fact, it never will be clean. It affects people who want to be avoided being raped by some deranged homosexual who's strung out on meth, who has a hashtag gay rape fantasy. I mean, it might affect them, but probably not, so just I'll shut up about it. I don't understand why women worship homosexuals. Why they defend them with more ferocity than they would their own children. And that's a fact. A woman will kill her own child, will have it forcibly removed from her body. And they do that. And she would much rather have that than insult a homosexual, insult one of her pets, insult her BFF. She would sooner kill a defenseless child than actually face facts. And of course, not all women. Well, fine, okay. I think you understand that. I think you understand what I am saying. It is a disturbing amount of women. But how can we blame them? They are simply followers of fashion. They simply want to be on the winning team. They want to pay lip service to that which exists at the top of the social hierarchy. And they had a role in putting them there. After all, they vote, they spend money, they pay taxes. But in fairness, there are a few people I think have been convinced by the amount of information that's out there, the kind of information that's out there. And they're usually the most dedicated ones speaking out against the scourge that is this deviancy. Because they know that they are vessels for life. They know that their duty is to create the next generation and nurture it to the best of its abilities. And there is no reason why they shouldn't feel this way. If they are making an investment in the future, they would want the future to be as functional for their children as possible. And look, the reason why I talk about this kind of thing so much is because it is so disturbingly prevalent. I click on some dumb picture from some dumb Facebook page, and in the comments I see, somebody's like, says something about fags or whatever, just says faggot, and be like, 2015, not liking men, look at this guy. And it has thousands of likes on it. These people, they have something very, very distinct in common with the people who are all hashtag gay rape fantasy, let me be one of 10,419. 10,419 notes on that post. And nobody takes a step back and says, whoa, wait a minute, what the fuck are we doing here? Is this really what we want? I saw a Kaiser Permanente commercial with like a white guy and a black guy. They're both in tuxedos. They're both holding up rings for the camera. Oh, look, we're gay married. From a fucking healthcare company. Promoting an objectively dangerous lifestyle. Actually, if I think about it, it's consistent with what a healthcare company wants. You create diseases, you create anal cancer, you create endocrine disruption from swallowing so much cum that you rake it in. You rake it in from all of these preventable illnesses. And now I want to go back to that comment that brought this whole thing crashing down into this episode of the show. You honestly believe that an entire group of people are all the same? Yeah, generalization is always used by intellectuals. You're not worth my time. I hope you suffer in your life. This is about the closest you can get to a surrender from somebody who, is like this. The bit about generalizations being used by intellectuals, that sarcastic quip, that's the most interesting to me because it highlights something that I've observed. It confirms something that I've observed in young people who fancy themselves as smart because they have a 4-year degree in media studies, and they work on sets of commercials, and the things they work on get to be on TV, and that's what really matters, being on TV. Young people in their communications classes, in their media studies classes, in their film classes, they're always shown something, and this is something I've observed myself directly sitting in one of the seats. Oh, look at this. This is offensive and stereotypical. Don't be stereotypical. Go against the stereotype. And the stereotype, going against it, doing the opposite. Like, for example, I saw one and this wasn't like something completely out of the realm of possibility, but you see like two black people playing chess. Now, in the hood, I don't think they own a lot of chess sets, but you know, that's just my take on it. That's just my feeling. I could be completely wrong, and everywhere in the inner city they have a chess set that is heavily used. And another obvious example being like, oh look, two dads and their adopted child who they aren't doing inappropriate things with. Nope, not at all. That's another thing that you see commonly in advertising. And why you see this so often, why you see these, ooh, look, we're contradicting the stereotypes, ooh, look, this isn't the stereotypical family, is because your young people, your tax dollars at work, going to these universities, paying these professors to teach children bullshit. Your own children. This is why they think, generalizations are unintellectual. Because I'm not allowed to generalize in college. And look, I have a college degree, so that means I'm smart. This is why you see anti-stereotyping. This is why anti-stereotyping is considered very intellectual. Despite the fact that stereotypes are rooted in observable reality. To not go out and observe things is considered intellectual. To not go live in an apartment complex and get to know your lower class neighbors to see how they really live, how they really behave, and making judgments on that behavior, making a classification of that behavior. Even though it exists, you live next to it, you live around it, you live in it, it's wrong because it might offend somebody. Your judgments might be a little bit too accurate. Your judgments might prompt somebody to make an angry response, an angry defensive response, defending themselves because they see themselves in your judgments. See, you can fling all of these insults at people that don't really mean anything. You can call them conniving, you can call them treacherous, you can call them diseased, whatever, and they won't be bothered by it. But if you call a demon by its correct name, that's what gets them. That's what triggers comments like, oh, generalization, you said generalization, you're not worth my time, I hope you suffer. That's how you know you've gotten to the point. You've hit that bullseye. You have correctly identified whatever it is you've identified. Royce gave a great example of this a number of months ago when he linked to an article of an interview from Chrissie Hynde, who is the lead singer of The Pretenders. And she said, the article says, the former chart topper claimed in a Sunday newspaper interview that scantily clad women were likely to entice a rapist, and that it is their fault if they are attacked. She also claimed that pop stars who call themselves feminists but use their sex appeal to sell records were effectively just prostitutes. She says, if I'm walking around and I'm very modestly dressed and I'm keeping to myself and someone attacks me, then I'd say that's his fault. But if I'm being very Larry and putting it about and being provocative, then you are enticing someone who's already unhinged. Don't do that. She added, you know, if you don't want to entice a rapist, don't wear high heels so you can't run from him. If you're wearing something that says come on and fuck me, you'd better be good on your feet. I don't think I'm saying something controversial, am I? A pop star who's walking around parading themselves as a porn star and saying they're feminists, they're prostitutes. I'm not making a value judgment on prostitutes, but just say what you are. What's that saying about wisdom? Calling things by their correct name. And she does. It's a woman whose input I can respect, because she's clearly not terribly concerned with outside influences. She's not really concerned about what the dominant opinion is. You can tell statements like these, they're an output, which results from a relatively pure input. And what do I mean by this? Well, if we are not blind, we have two eyes that can see things. If we are not deaf, we have two ears that can hear things, and a brain to put it all together. What I mean by a pure input is that you see something and your brain comes up with a thought. It is filtered through nothing. Nothing but your own eyes. Nothing between. Most people, when they observe something, they see the object, and then it is filtered through academia, mass media, social circles, social media. Then it goes into their eyes, ears, and their brain. By that time, the view is so distorted, they're no longer talking about what they actually looked at or what they heard. When you mutilate an observation through all of these lenses, wisdom is rendered impossible. And wisdom is calling things by their correct name. Academia, mass media, and the opinions of your idiot friends, the opinions formed by academia and mass media, those things are enemies of wisdom. If you have any filters distorting your view of what is, remove them. Start calling things by their correct name and watch the demons wither.